On January 2nd, 2023, the sports world went silent when 24-year-old safety of the Buffalo Bills, Damar Hamlin, suffered a cardiac arrest on Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals. We sit here today and we talk about certain things like life. We talk about other issues and things like that. And when we come to football on this podcast and other content creators, we always talk about football, but we always forget about the human lives that sacrifice for the game. Now you see how much of the sacrifice it is for these young men and these people who taking care of their families, doing things right by everybody. And I just want to say to Damar Hamlin, I'm with you. The world is with you right now. And no matter what, keep fighting.
The only thing I could think of saying right now is I'm big on family. Like, I'm big on my family unit. Like, my mom, my dad, my little brother, like, that's pretty much my whole world. Outside of any other thing going on, my life revolves around them. Like, I don't really do too much without my mom and dad's opinion. Whether I take it or whether I don't, you know, but sometimes I just want to hear it, you know. It's just how I was raised, and that's just something I'm big on. So that's I would say.
Hey, Commanders Nation, it's your boy Hog Farmer Keith from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. Before you start listening to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple and easy way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it costs absolutely nothing to you.
Welcome to DC. 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 Welcome to DC.
So, I've had some time to sit, think about this, vent, get some steam off, so this won't be as nearly as aggressive as it could have been. But I just need to know, as a team, as a franchise, what are we doing? We have an offensive coordinator who, by pretty much all fan accounts, has no clue what he's doing. I mean, play calling, game planning, adjustments, nothing makes sense from play to play, quarter to quarter, half to half, game to game even. We have a head coach who is seemingly by the minute losing his team by making poor decisions. God knows where we're going with this whole ownership thing. We have a defense that we know has shown and proven to be a very good, very talented unit, and then they go out at the worst possible times and lay eggs. I just need to know what we're doing as a team, as a franchise, as an organization. Everything has to this point, from 5 weeks ago, has spiraled out of control, and at this point, I am blanking on any possible thing that could have been done to save this season. I mean, I said I was gonna make it quick. I just need to know what we're doing. A lot of changes need to be made from top to bottom, and hopefully, you know, we can make those changes with, you know, ownership and everything else, man. That's all. I just had to get that off my chest. What are we doing, please?
Welcome to DC. You know where you're at the USA Cup. You're taking it slightly. I'm taking it slightly. Then how you throw at go, you won't be right back. Well, we gon' be right here. We gon' be right here. We ain't going nowhere. Welcome to DC.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast. I am Deuce. We got Breeze, DT, and CeeLo in the building. What is good with you guys? DT, that was a beautiful opening. Breeze, you was able to get that off your chest. Breeze wasn't able to make it because he had a 6-hour meeting. Coach Breeze, I guess for this upcoming season and what they're looking to do at Dunbar, right? Still at Dunbar. So that's good for Coach Breeze. Yeah, man. So we're gonna get into a lot today. We're gonna talk about this upcoming game. We're gonna talk about playoffs, eighth seed. This is strange. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're gonna talk about Del Rio. We're gonna talk about Scott Turner. We got a lot of things to talk about today for this upcoming game. So on the other side of this, we're gonna get right to it.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, where we discuss all things Washington Commanders, from the executive and front offices, coaches, players, and fan experience. Join DT, Breeze, CeeLo, and Deuce as they break down the pre- and post games. Do it because you love it and not because it loves you. Hail Commanders!
CeeLo, it's Cowboys week. Does it matter? Does anyone care? But it has got a little more interesting, right? What's your take on this upcoming week?
I guess it's evaluation time. I mean, on one hand, I'm speaking the obvious, right? One hand, you go out there. The Cowboys are playing for something. They're playing for the number one seed, which is crazy to think about given the season that the Eagles have had. But they're playing for the number one seed, which means a bye week and home field advantage. And so we can affect that. The other side of that coin is we can get a better draft pick. I'm personally not a big fan of like playing for a draft pick, but I do feel like, I kind of joked about it. I think in the chat, you can kind of, okay, this guy's hurt, that guy's hurt, that guy's hurt, and just let's see whatever happens. And then you may still end up getting that draft pick, but you tried. So that might be the way that they go. And because I do feel like this is every offseason is important, right? So I want us to go in the offseason with some semblance of what Sam Howell, the Howlister, can do. Although this means nothing about him and what he can be as a professional quarterback. It's one game, it's 4 quarters. It means very little in the bigger picture. But I understand what Coach is trying to do. We may need to talk about this later, but the fact that he even thought about it was interesting to me. He had to be convinced that Sam Howell was the right move. So let's talk about Coach Ron later, but that's how I feel about it, man. It's not, to me, Dallas week. I couldn't care less about Dallas week other than the fact that we can maybe affect their home field advantage scenario, which is just disgusting.
Yeah. DT, final game of the year, maybe, I guess. What's your when you saw the report, like CeeLo was saying, pre-show, it's not a whole lot of steam, but some people was talking about it. If that's the case, if they open up 8th seed, it looks like they will have to beat the Cowboys and the Seahawks will have to lose, and then we're in. How does that make you feel, man?
To me, before this news about the potential 8th seed coming, I was like CeeLo, like I'm just looking at the young talent on this team that we need to evaluate, especially Sam Howell, for the future's sake, to see if he's QB1 of the future. But this is starting to add a little intrigue, man. But I think logically, because of the Lions and the Seahawks for the games that they have played, it's still going to be pretty tough for a team like us to get a seed like that. So right now, I'm just focusing on looking at these young guys that Ron invested in the draft and let them get opportunity.
I don't think that was me. So, Breeze, like what DT was saying about these young players getting opportunities. I mean, even if it is a game, even if they do open up, we do got a chance to go to the playoffs. Does that change your approach to this last game?
Me personally, that's a tough call. And even as CeeLo and DT was speaking, I was kind of thinking about it. It's like, if they do open up an AC, like if you're Ron Rivera, right? Like you, at this point, I'm kind of committed to starting Sam Howell. Antonio Gibson was just put on IR. You know, you got other guys who are beat and banged up, and we've kind of, come to terms with the fact that they probably won't play Sunday. If the NFL comes out tomorrow and says we're going to open up an AC, like how does that change your thought process going into the game as a coach? I know me as a coach, me as a player, like players won't tank. Players are always going to go out there and play to the best of their abilities. You know, tanking starts from much higher up, like CeeLo said. Okay, well, now he's hurt. Yeah, he had a disciplinary act. Like, you know what I'm saying? You start kind of making stuff.
Disciplinary act.
Yeah, like he can't start now. We don't want to risk him getting injured. He got a bonus he about to hit. We can't play. Like, it's all kind of stuff going on. I'm to the point now. I've seen enough. And I'm with you. Evaluate Sam Howell. Evaluate some of the younger guys in the backfield and for sure on the offensive line. Secondary. You know what I mean? See what you got. I mean, like one game is a very small sample size, but that sample being against the Dallas Cowboys, who still very much have something to play for, is a very good game to kind of get that measuring stick game against. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, CeeLo, it's Sam Howell time, right? I think the question is going to be, will it be his time in open up the 2023 season? Finally, the fans, we know those fans, but I think a lot of us, we finally get to see the highly touted 5th round pick. We know what his projection was after his sophomore year. He was projected to be a top pick, a top quarterback pick in a draft. But now he's here. Like, is this the right move to play him now, or should he been played earlier?
Yeah. In hindsight, probably. In hindsight, probably so. But I heard some mixed reviews about Sam's progress, and some, like you heard Logan Paulson say, if I'm allowed to say, mention his name, he mentioned that he needed some development. He needed to work on some things like footwork, timing, which is reasonable for a young guy. So maybe it was best to let him continue to learn in the background. But when you sign someone in free agency for $28 million, even for just 1 year, that's your quarterback. That's your QB1, So I understand Ron, and not to go back in time, but I understand the move to Carson in that Browns game. Remember, we were 2-1 at that time. So, we lost the Giants game. We lost it, San Francisco, and we tied with the first Giants game. So he needed to do something different. My issue was really in the background. Like, what did they see in practice? Did he look that bad? Like, they should have been like, whoa, timeout, let's pivot. But apparently that's what that is. So Sam, to me, is probably where he needs to be. We're out of the playoff hunt, so let him get some reps. I was never on that Sam Howell bandwagon while we were still in it. So I felt like give every young quarterback time to grow. I don't care what Purdy's doing. I don't care what anyone else is doing, because the only reason those guys are playing is pretty much because of injury, with the exception of the guy in Oakland. So he still lost, but that's where I am. I'm okay with Sam playing in this week. Let him. Let's see what he got. I'm excited about that, and let's go from there.
DT. So, do you think, like a lot of people say, or we hear, like you mentioned Logan Paulson, and we hear other guys that's in the building. We hear that he's not ready. He's not ready. He's not ready. Is that more so on Sam Howell, or is that on this coaching staff?
That's an interesting question to ask. And to me, it really depends, though. When you look at quarterbacks, not every quarterback is a finished product. And we can say for a lot of quarterbacks that have come in the NFL, there's always one or a couple of flaws that you have. And when you're going to an NFL roster, it has to be refined in order for you to become a quality starter or a backup or a camp arm. And for Howell, for the career he had at North Carolina, there were definitely some things that he had to work on. When you play with a lot of elite talent, stuff like that, it's not like he's playing at Ohio State or Alabama where they can get the 5 and 4 stars every single year and they can reload. He went to North Carolina, and when he lost those guys, it was like legit the same way as an NFL roster. You lose some guys, and you're going to deal with some things structurally that you have to work on. And of course, I think the biggest thing for him was he was coming from a air raid RPO heavy offense to a NFL offense, and now you're playing in Scott Turner's offense, which from what we're hearing the past couple of years as we've been in this regime, it's not really quarterback friendly. So I think, for us as a franchise, we have a long history of not truly developing guys or giving them an opportunity to grow. And I think for what Ron has done, I know people were angry and stuff like that, but we have two vets. You had two vets on the team that can give him the time to work on his footwork or wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, study film, go over, hey, how do I um, read these defenses? How do I study even better? It's the little things that make you a better NFL quarterback. I think right now, of course, we have heard things like he's not ready, but to me, I think he needs this opportunity, man. Like he needs the reps. So once we can see, can he be the quarterback of the future?
Quarterback of the future. Man, quarterback of the future, Breeze. Are we going to be able to determine that from this game? Because I don't know, like if you're not following Breeze, you need to, because he be going in on Twitter. Yeah, people be getting on his nerves, man. What are we looking for from this game? Let's look at the bad and good, Breeze. What can we see for him in this off season if he has a bad game or if he has a good game?
So to answer your first question, no, this game should not determine one way or another whether he's a starting or franchise quarterback. It's one game. The same way any quarterback is capable of having a good game, any quarterback is capable of having a bad game. We've seen both sides of it from all three quarterbacks this year. Well, pardon me, the first two quarterbacks this year. And every team has probably gone through it as well. So one game is not a determining factor. It should not be. You got to remember what we're talking about. Should not be a determining factor in one way or the other, just to kind of give us an idea of where we might be headed or maybe where he's at in his development more so than anything else. The second question was what to expect from Sam. Is that what it was?
Yep.
So the thing about that is, again, as I always repeat on Twitter, I think I know Sam Howell's a talented quarterback. I'm very aware of where Sam Howell would have been drafted a year earlier. I'm also aware of the fact that there's a reason outside of the people around him leaving that he fell to the 5th round, whatever that reason may be. I'm not an NFL scout, and I'm not gonna sit there and pretend to sit there and watch every UNC football game. I don't.
Like some people, right?
Like some people, I do unfortunately watch every Kentucky game, and we'll eventually get to that at some point. But whatever. But yeah, there's a reason that he fell to the 5th round, whether it's footwork, whether it's decision making, leadership, whatever, it happened, right? I feel, and y'all know how I feel about Scott Turner. I feel like we got to go into the game with a safe game plan. Don't put too much on him. Try to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible. Don't have him taking a bunch of 5 and 7-step drops, especially behind a bad and weak offensive line. And put him in the best position to succeed. You know what I mean? Don't expect Sam Howell to go out there and throw for 300 yards and we get 35 points, especially on this defense. We already know what this defense is. They got something to play for. They coming to get that boy. We know that. You know, Michael Parsons and they coming to get Sam Howell. They looking at that fresh meat. They coming to get that man. So, like, you know, Scott Turner has to call a game to where he's kind of protecting Sam. Not in the sense of not letting him be Sam Howell, but don't do things that will contribute to the detriment of Sam Howell. You know what I mean? Let him do him to an extent. Don't expect him to shake the world up. I expect a fairly average game. I expect him to look like Taylor Heineke with a few more passing yards, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But take that how you want to take it. But that's what I'm expecting from Sam Howell.
One before we go to commercial, yes or no? Do you trust Scott Turner to call a game plan that's going to put Sam Howell in successful situations? Breeze.
You asking me? No, I don't.
DT. DT.
I want to be optimistic, man, but when you have stuff on film, that's what you are as a play caller, man. And he's not consistent enough to show me that I understand it's been a turnover of quarterback. I understand your offensive line has been below average in years past, but you have to find a way. You have to find a way to be consistent in something. And I don't see no consistency. So I'm just going to say no.
CeeLo?
Nah.
There's a lot of bad stigma about shopping for a used car. Well, come visit us at iCargo Motors. We'll take care of you. We'll ensure that your experience is not only seamless and efficient, but also satisfying. Because at iCargo Motors, we believe that the best form of currency is integrity.
That's going to be a clip right there. that clip going on Twitter, man. I already know that clip going on Twitter.
It's so funny because I think DT laughed so hard he disconnected his. Oh man! Oh, here you go.
Oh man!
Oh man! I saw you laughing, DT. Did you like knock your phone or something over?
He's still trying to get
back together. All right, Commander Turner versus Cowboy Quinn. Who will win in this standoff? Like Breeze was saying, we know Quinn is very aggressive now. O-line is bad, and they banged up, and it's a possibility that we're going to see Chris Paul out there. We know Dallas is coming. You know what I mean? They're going to play their starters, and they're going to try to put this game away early. CeeLo, who wins this chess match, as you would say, between Quinn and Scott Turner?
Yeah, so like you said, I think they're gonna play their starters just because of the, what they're playing for. So it's gonna be like Bree said, it's gonna be a great test for both Scott and Sam and that whole front offensive line. I was looking at some stats real quick. So Michael Parsons is at 13 sacks. Armstrong is at 8. DeMarcus is at 6. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to rack up when they can in those passing situations. And just side note, Sam Howell was sacked 47 times this last year in the UNC. 47 times. So he has an idea of what this may look like. So I think Dan's going to win this matchup. Perfect, to be honest with you. So this is going to be a really, really difficult situation for both Scott and Sam Howell. I just hope that that Scott tries to keep it simple. If it's third and long, man, just pull a draw. Just get a ball up and punt. If it's third and short, run the ball. I mean, just obvious things. Don't overthink it. Try to win the game, but also put Sam in situations to win. Go ahead, Breeze.
I'm sorry. So like when you say if it's third and short, just run the ball. Even when he makes the right play, the choice, the correct run pass decision, he still calls a play that's counterproductive to what you want to do. So like if it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 9 times out of 10, don't wind up in shotgun and pitch the ball outside. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm carry on, Silla. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna cut you off,
I thought he's about to walk off the set. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If he had a headset, he'd be like, God dang. Yeah, hey, that's it, man. You know, Breeze said it. He said it best. That's it. Just Scott just got to stop overthinking it, man, and make the obvious play call and move on. That's it.
So we're going right back to Breeze. So Dan Quinn, right? So we know how he's going to be aggressive. We know he's going to put Michael Parsons all over the field. So let's ask Coach Breeze and not Scott Turner. What would the coordinator and Coach Breeze do to help Sam Howell be successful, and especially against that blitz? Because I believe they gonna be coming with like 6 to 7 people.
They bring up the house. Me personally, if I'm calling plays, I'm again quick passing, get the ball out of his hands quickly. Whether that I personally hate screens, but I get it. Screen passes, you know, quick slants. I don't even want him throwing like deep, like out routes, stuff like that, because that's a long throw. If he's late on that throw, that ball's going that way. You know what I mean? So quick pass, get the ball out of his hand. And me personally, if they're rushing upfield, especially at the ends, I'm gonna run right at it. Hopefully they hit the wrong gap, run right past Rob. Well, Gibson's not playing. I know Rob's gonna beat up, but whoever the running back is, you know, let us get a few yards and, you know, methodically work the ball downfield.
Whoever the running back is,
whoever. You're gonna have to. This is a game like you can't afford to try to get in a shootout or a track meet with them. You know what I mean? You got to kind of beat them up a little bit, and because they gonna throw punches, you know, haymakers. You're gonna have to be able to take a punch and give a punch back. Don't just swing for the fences at all times. You got to, you know, jab, stick and move a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's what I would do. Don't try to get too greedy, too aggressive, especially just because you don't have anything to play for. I feel like that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna take some shots. Woo. Yeah. Yeah.
DT, as an educator, is it mathematically possible for Scott Turner to draw up something that get us a victory this Sunday?
Yes. I believe for him, he has to do what Sam Howell do best. And that is an RPO heavy offense that is able to dictate to this, especially. So if we have an RPO heavy scheme, you can attack the linebackers afterwards because they're going to be aggressive and they're going to try to stop the run. So that leaves our 3 wide receivers the ability to make one-on-one and make their ankles dance. And I think for him, he has to move the pocket. I think he has to move the pocket with Sam Howell. That's one way to get him comfortable and, you know, don't have to make him feel like he has to win from the pocket. And another thing I have to say is for this type of game, when you're playing against the offense like the Dallas Cowboys, you have to keep possession. You have to give the defense a chance to make plays. So if it has to be 11-minute drives with Sam Howell or rookie, I'm okay with it. Because eventually he's going to have those type of drives where either he's taking 9 to 10 minutes off the clock or it's going to be a quick strike. And I think he has to play to Howell's strengths.
To that point, those longer drives might actually help Sam Howell get into a little bit of a rhythm versus, you know, when you're trying to go quick, and we go 3 and out. Now he can't really, you know, work himself into the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. CeeLo. Jack Del Rio. Can he wake up? Because he's been asleep ever since Cam Curl stopped bringing him his coffee. What type of game we're going to look for for our defense this Sunday? What type of game are you expecting?
Oh, man.
So Cowboys are averaging 28.2 points per game. 28.8 points per game. So essentially 29 points per game. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Now, So here's the question, right? So let's just be honest. They got a couple playmakers, man. Tony Pollard is a beast. CeeDee Lamb is sorry to say, but he's doing pretty well. They got a couple of playmakers on that team, and unfortunately, or apparently, when Cam Curl doesn't play, neither can we. Sorry, it just don't work out. Apparently, he is the glue. He is the defensive coordinator. He is the defensive line coach. He is the secondary coach because clearly he's so important that we can't keep a team from doing what they want to do. We had Cleveland Browns throw 9 completions the entire game and score 24 points. How's that possible? And I guarantee you, because Kellen Moore, he don't know how to run the ball. I mean, he knows how to run the ball, but he loves throwing the ball, just like most young coordinators do. He loves throwing the rock. So they're a balanced, if not more pass-heavy team, if you want to call it that. They're going to throw the ball, and they're going to test that secondary. And we're not going to have Cam Curl. We're not going to have BSG. We're not going to – and then we'll have, Fuller and whoever, Danny Johnson probably, and Defoe. I want to see Percy Butler, actually. I want to see him out there because this is going to be a game where might as well see him, right? I want to see Christian Holmes because might as well. I mean, let's just go put them all out there and let's see what happens. But it ain't looking good, bro. Jack to me is a coordinator that is probably more comfortable and successful when his top guys are in the football game. When he has to kind of mix and match on like a week's notice, I don't think he's able to adjust to their strengths, or at least try to make it simplify the defense so that guys can at least get to the ball, tackle, and move on. People are wide open, missing tackles, which you can't always fix that, but whatever. So yeah, I'm not real comfortable. And it's funny, right? Remember 2 years ago, people were dogging Kellen Moore. Now all of a sudden he's like the next greatest thing. So it's funny how this league is weird. That's all.
DT, we know he relies heavily on the pass rush, and more times than not, we're not getting there. This is the last game. It may not have any meaning. He has a lot of young guys out there. A lot of his top guys are out. Jonathan Allen is out. He's not gonna play, I'm sure. Do you think he'd take more chances and bring more because of that, or do you think he's going to be even more conservative because of the same reason?
Well, I think the hardest thing about this is when you look at the depth chart, you had a second-year guy at St. Jude's. You have a 7-year vet in Kendall Fuller, and maybe 3 or 4 year guy in Danny Johnson. But outside of those guys, there's nobody really that much experience to help them out. So you're either risking saying you're going for broke, you're going to throw the whole kitchen sink at Kellen Moore and this Cowboy offense, knowing your secondary is weak, but you're going to take the risk, or you're just going to let them guys be on ESPN all day. Because let's face it, man. When I believe Dak Prescott is one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. So I mean, it's almost like picking your poison in certain areas. To me, I definitely wouldn't blitz on third down. I will blitz when it is not expected for us to blitz, right? Try to do some wrinkles and things from the 5-man front. Try to bring Jamin, or even, hey, I'll use Percy Butler a little bit. The guy got some little speed from him. He already run crazy. Let him run and knock Dak Prescott head off.
Man, Breeze. So like DT mentioned, Dak Prescott is one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz, because he can get the ball out quick, right? He has some great receivers. He has a great tight end. And now also T.Y. Hilton is starting to show up these last few weeks, right? He's really starting to show up. That's another, I don't know what to ask, Breeze. Just take a segment, man. Dan Quinn, do you think Jack is going to be able to dial up anything, man?
Honestly, no. He if we being real, he hasn't really dialed up a whole lot all season as it pertains to like pass rush stuff like that. I really don't. You know, we are, like we said, Jonathan Allen's not playing. You know, guys are beat up, banged up. I'd really like. Do you expect him to do more with less? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, we only like if you want to blitz from the second level, besides Jamin, who else do you trust to blitz from the linebacker position? You know what I mean? It's holes all in the secondary in the zone without Cam Curl back there. What you gonna blitz Forrest? You gonna blitz Percy? Like, you know what I'm saying? Revo, like, you by trying to do more with less, the way he calls the defense, I feel like you're creating more holes in the zone defense that he prefers to run. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna end up just playing a fairly simple base defense, not try to do too much, and more or less like, yo, let's get through it. Let's just get this over with and get up out of here, kind of thing. Like, I hope not, but I just don't see him trying to do more with less, talent wise and number wise.
Before we go to the next commercial break, real quick, how many? What's the total yards for Dallas on Sunday, DT?
I'm gonna say about probably 387. I think they're really gonna try to throw more than run, because they know that's our weakness. I mean, I wouldn't even try to run as much, especially when you have Tony Pollard, who was out last week. Try to keep your running backs fresh if I was Dallas, and try to get Dak Prescott a little bit of rhythm before playoff time. And I think that's the expected yardage. I think he'll probably go, if you go holding the 230, I think that's good enough to win. Anything over that, I think that's a huge L.
Breeze.
So wait, DT, is that 230 total offense or just Dak Prescott?
Oh no, I'm saying that's how many yards we need to hold him.
At least the whole offense, at least 230. So Breeze, the question is, what do you think their total number will be? DT said 387.
Because they have something to play for, and we are already a beaten and bruised animal on the side of the road at this point. Man, listen, we might be pushing full. I hate to say it, but we got a weak secondary, a weak D line, a weak linebacker core, and they are moving. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might get rough out there, man. Like,
CeeLo.
So the first game, and I was just looking at it. So the first game, they had a total of 279 yards passing and rushing. Question is, are we that much different of a defense, offense, special teams than we were in whatever that was, week 3, whatever that was? So that's the question, right? You know, we got injuries on defense, and so to your point, we're probably worse. We had Cam Curl in that game, I believe, and it didn't matter. I could be wrong.
I don't think Cam played that. He played that game? I know he missed the first few weeks with his thumb.
Okay. He was there that week. Yep.
So, man, it's the Cowboys, man. Like, I feel like
that was the All Black. Okay, my bad.
I feel like some of these guys should have a little bit of pride. We've actually did okay in the passing game. The numbers haven't been great. We've given up some touchdowns, but the yardage hasn't been great. But the run game, we've been horrible. Nick Chubb went off. Christian McCaffrey and them cats did okay. But overall, they had one big run that they had in San Francisco, killed our numbers, right? And then against the Giants, really good. So anyway, I'll say under 300 yards total. I'll stick to that.
The calendar says that summer is ending soon, but we're still outside. So when it's time to hop in your ride, make sure you book the best mobile detailing service in the DMV, Miles Detailing. Call 240-273-4018 or contact on Instagram at Miles Detailing to book your service today. Mention Red Zone in the Lab podcast for 10% off detail services only. Ride in style with Miles Detailing, that is.
To win or not to win? That is the question. DT, I thought that was wonderful when I saw that in the script. So we're going to start with you. We know that if we lose and a couple other things happen, we can get as low as the 10th pick in the draft. If we win and other things happen, I think it's like 17 or something like that. So we have a window from 10 to 17. DT, should we win this game? And I'm gonna ask all of you as two different people in a sense, right? DT as a fan, do you want to win? And DT as a GM, do you want to win?
Well, if I'm DT as a general manager, I want to win because I invested in these players. I brought them in, and I believe in their ability. And I can't end the season on a sour note. I mean, Ron Rivera's in December, he's been 0-7. 0-7 December. Like we're starting out bad. We get on a hot streak in the middle, and then when the games matter most, you choking. We choked the last 4 weeks, and it's Cowboys, man. Like I had a couple people this week. I'm at work. We guys talking trash to me, bro. I'm like, it's nasty, man. Y'all don't want this, bro. But that's me as a GM. As a fan, though, I understand the rivalry. I'm from Virginia. There's a lot of Cowboy fans. My grandma's a Cowboys fan. But all the stuff that's happening right now, I just care about the young guys on the roster getting reps, seeing how they look, carrying into the off season. And if we get the top 10 pick, we have some options to make this team better. That's all I care for. We are not as bad as media presumes it, or where people say we overachieved or whatsoever. Like this team is a quarterback, offensive line, and a competent OC away from being one of the top teams in the NFC.
Oh, man, competence is crazy.
I mean, I'm just spitting facts, man. Like
You ain't lying.
if we had a competent OC, a consistent quarterback, and an offensive line that can get to the second level, not fall on the grass on a 2nd and 7 run play, we got something, man. But I'm taking.
Take it.
I'm taking, yes.
Breeze, Coach Breeze, what do you do, Coach Breeze?
You ask me as a coach?
Yep.
As a coach, especially a coach of this team, I'm trying to win as a coach because I look at it as me. I have too much pride to go out there and not try to win the game. Number one. Number two, this rivalry. There are still people. This rivalry still on this side of it this rivalry still matters to. And then number three, I'm on the hot seat, so I want to show and prove that I can take this beat up.
He said, "I'm on the hot seat."
I want to show that I can take this beat up roster, this weakened roster, against this team that we all know has something to play for. That's trying to kick our teeth in, and I'm gonna get this group together, and we're gonna go ahead and beat these boys. So as a coach, I'm trying to win. As a coach in this situation, I'm trying to win. It's hard for me to not try to win a game. You know what I mean? So as a coach, I'm for sure trying to win.
All right, GM Breeze.
GM Breeze. GM Breeze. Kind of the same. Again, I put this roster together. If I'm a GM, I put this roster together. I put this team together. And again, I might be on the hot seat. I want to show and prove that like these dudes that I picked, especially now, like the back end of the roster guys and late additions to the roster, that they have some kind of value. And if we're going to all season trying to rebuild, I want to see you at your best. I want to see, give me everything you got in this moment. You have nothing left to play for, nothing next week. Everything you got today, give me what you got, and you might earn a job this week. If you go out there and fall on your face, you might be looking for employment. You know what I mean? So GM Breeze is still looking, and hopefully we take care of our business, and then in the back of my mind, everybody else that I need to win wins, and we pick 11 instead of 10th. Like I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I don't even know if I want to ask CeeLo. Okay. Fan CeeLo, what are you doing, man? Oh, it's Fan CeeLo and GM CeeLo the same person.
I'm gonna say as a fan, I want to beat the Cowboys. I'm just being a plain old school fan, bro. I can't stand the Cowboys. I can't stand the fandom in this damn area. I can't stand it. It's more. I feel like it's more Cowboy fans than our, you know what I'm saying, our fans. And so every chance I can get to beat the Cowboys, I'm all in it. I don't care what the circumstances are. So as a fan, I just want to win, right? As a GM, absolutely not. I want them boys to lay over and look. I don't like lose by 1, lose by 100. I don't care. Lose the game because I need ammunition. I need to make moves. I need a higher draft pick so I can go do my thing. Because as a GM, man, the draft is everything to me, right? I mean, as a draft, when you're looking at the draft, man, that is like gold. You want to take those draft picks and turn them into everything. So for me as a GM, bro, I want to lose so bad. I'm like, yo, Ron, I don't care how you do it. Go do your thing, bro. Between you and I, figure it out. Lou, if you win, we're gonna have problems. If you lose, we good to go. That's how I would do it.
If you lose, you all right with me. You all right.
Exactly. I'm saying this is the one time you can lose. I'm like, bro, it's the one time you can lose. Because trust me, it's gonna be okay. Make them boys fight. It's all good. Just don't lose. Just don't win. Go for it on 4th down, all that stuff. I don't care.
Y'all thought Scott Turner coach that he was playing Madden before? Oh, what's finna happen on Sunday?
We gonna win.
Trust Way might as well stay at home. We ain't punting.
Oh yeah,
nothing
punting is useless.
Don't even. Stay home.
He gonna be Titanic Ron Sunday.
Oh yeah.
We putting up buckets because he's gonna do the opposite, right?
Ship too. We go out there doing that.
We don't need any special team specialists. We need kicker or punter. We good. We just
matter of fact, we can drop them off the 47 and just add 2 other players.
They could be Tutty. They could be Tutty for the day. Tutty 1 and Tutty 2.
DT Monday morning. Anybody on this staff will anybody in this staff be fired come Monday morning?
It's so hard to come back another year, especially year 4. Like we already seen through 3 years. The same way we talk about you can know what type of quarterback you have in 3 years, you know what type of coaching staff you have in 3 years. And to me, this coaching staff has I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I do like the classic old school type of coaching, but this is 2023. Like it's all about innovation. It's all about scoring points so your defense can just play with their heads on fire and stuff like that, man. And this staff is not innovative enough for me. It is not. And it's bad time management, bad play calling, defense that we supposed to be top 5 really with all the talent we have. We have like 5 first rounders, and you include Jamin Davis in the front 7. I mean, it's not good enough. So if I had to look on a side of the ball between Ron, if I was Ron, I gotta let go Scott. Because you want to know why? At least with Jack Del Rio, 2 out of 3 years, he has had a top defense. I have not had a top offense so far with Scott Turner. It has been literally 27, 26, and 25. You're only improving by 1 spot. Like, legit.
He said, that was a creepy laugh.
You're only improving by 1 spot, bro. Oh, man. Scott gotta go. But my question to y'all, though, man, like, if even we let Scott go, who's going to call plays?
Might bring Noah. I mean, Noah's been in the building, right? So Maybe no. Coach Breeze.
So if Norm waiting for Dan Snyder to leave, because I know he got some beef with him, he shouldn't be on the practice field.
Yeah, but he's been there. That's for sure. He's been there. He's there a lot on training. He's there. He's around. He's somewhere around there. So CeeLo, Black Monday.
It's two different answers. What they should do, what they will do. What they should do is I would make some changes on the offensive side of the football. I would separate Coach Ron versus GM Ron. I would do like a couple different things because I would show that I'm something has to change in order to make progress. Can't keep doing the same thing and expecting the same result, right? So I want to do something that's going to at least give us an opportunity to change directions and give us at least some like energy and going into the off season. So I would say, hey guys, I'm going to, we're going to go a different direction in offensive coordinator. I'm going to make Marty is now my boss, right? Or Marty is now the guy. That would be bold. That would be like true self-reflection. I need to focus on the team. I can't do both, that kind of thing. That would be like, I would be like shocked if that happened, but that would be the best thing to do. What's really going to happen? Nothing. Nothing. No one's getting fired. No one's doing anything. He's going to stand back. And it could be for reasons that we don't even know. Like it could be like we talked about earlier, right? It could be ownership stuff. It could be whatever. You're lame duck dude, don't do nothing. It could be a lot of that stuff. So in my opinion, nothing's going to happen.
Breeze.
I hate to say it. I do kind of agree with CeeLo's last point. It's going to be hard for them to do anything if there is indeed a ownership change going on, because if you fire or relieve any one of their duties, the current ownership has to pay out the remainder of those contracts if there's a contract to be paid out. And that's just not a smart business move for somebody. However, something has to change, whether that is on Black Monday or Black Friday. Something got to change. Something has to be done because, especially on the offensive side of the ball, you say you want to sit and evaluate. I mean, it's been 3 years. You had 18 weeks. The NFL gave you an additional week the last 2 years. Like, what more needs to be seen?
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about Scott Turner, I haven't seen any growth, any development. Yeah, he has spots here and there where he looks fairly decent. Drives on occasion where he looks fairly decent. And I was always told a broke clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? Like something has to change. We have an offense loaded with talent. I understand the quarterback situation and the O-line are two very important parts of your offense, if not the most important piece of your offense. We have all of this talent around it and can't do anything with it. Even I've always said, as a good coach, you don't necessarily have to have good players. You just have to know how to coach the players that you get. You can't always go out and recruit the best talent, but you gotta whatever walk through that door, you know what I mean, or whatever you end up with, you gotta coach to that ability. And Scott Turner has yet to do that for me. That something has to change. Defense, there were some rough spots in the season, but there are also some really great spots. I'm perfectly fine with the defense more or less standing pat, maybe a little tweak here and there, but offensively, something's got to change. I mean, you have the tight end group fell off the face of the earth completely. Quarterbacks, they all looked average, if not average at best. In their best moments, they look flat out average. I mean, we got an O-line getting run through at this point. Something has to change on the offense. I would love for it I would love, and I hate to say this because that's a real person with a job and family. I get it, but you weren't good at your job right now. I would love for them to move on from Scott Turner, but if they choose to keep Scott Turner, something has to be changed on offense. You cannot come back next year and come out here with the same staff and expect something to change.
Let's do final score predictions and final thoughts. We'll start with DT.
Hmm. All right. I'm going to say Dallas will win 34-24.
CeeLo.
All right, quick. I'm going to say, I'm going to say 18-30.
Man, y'all got us scoring a lot of points. Breeze.
I was actually thinking the exact same thing that CeeLo said. I think Sam Howell is going to try his hardest to throw the De'Ami ball, the deep ball, and he's going to De'Ami Brown, the deep ball, just for the sake of, for the heck of it. He's going to end up scoring. I feel like Jahan or Terry is going to end up scoring just because that's what they do. And we're going to Robinson or Patterson is going to get like a cheap score that don't really mean nothing. We're going to make an extra point, miss an extra point, and go for two and miss it. I think that gets me
God,
to
that
18.
sounds accurate.
I think that gets me to 18 if my math is correct.
Oh my gosh, that's
That
crazy,
sounds
man.
accurate.
That's
Anyway,
our
yeah.
season in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
That's hilarious.
Whatever that math equates to, that's what we're gonna score. That's what.
I'm going to go the opposite way, man. I think for some reason, we see like a different side of Scott, and it's gonna make things real interesting and confusing for the offseason. It's gonna have a whole lot of people questioning if this guy is really the real deal. Where I think it's actually going to be covered up because they don't know who Sam Howell is. And I think Sam Howell can be able to make more plays and get the ball down the field. Like a lot of times this year, we've heard a whole lot. If you can put Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz in the same body that end up being Sam Howell. I don't know, man. I think I haven't done it all year, so I'm gonna keep it going. I'm not gonna do it this year. For this game. I think it's gonna be a lot of points gonna be on the board. I'm gonna go. I don't even really believe this myself, but I'm gonna go 28-26 Commanders in an old-fashioned rivalry game. And FYI, DT's screen is not stuck.
That's a great point. I was like, let me
gonna wake up.
Yep, I think Scott Turner is going to wake up. I think Sam Howell is his coffee.
That's a hot take.
Walt Turner.
That's a hot take.
Oh man! Final thoughts, DT.
Man, final game of the year at FedEx Field, all white jerseys. And just extremely excited just for Sam Howell to get this opportunity, man. Like the Howlers finally got their guy. He getting ready to get the reps, things like that. Listen to the interviews. He's blessed and excited for the opportunity to play. I can't wait to see him play, man. I want to see some deep balls. I want to see him look like the guy of the future, bro. Like I cannot wait for the offseason for him. I really think he has potential.
Breeze.
So you remember being a kid, going into the grocery store with your mama, auntie, grandmama, whoever, and she make a statement like, "When we go in this store, don't embarrass me and act like you got some sense," right? Oh, that's pretty much where I'm at. You already been cutting up all school year. We finna go in this store. Do not embarrass me in front of these people. We gonna work that out when you get home. I know what you normally do. Do not embarrass me in public in front of these people, or we're gonna have to have a conversation. Please, I'm one of like 8 people that are still going to this game on Sunday. Please, Do not embarrass me in front of all these people. But that's going to be a very long walk back to the car. It's going to be a long walk regardless, but just act like y'all got some sense, please.
CeeLo.
That's hilarious. That's a great analogy, by the way. Because I know exactly where he was going with that. Oh man. I was just reading y'all. So I was just reading that quote by Jack Del Rio, man, and this summarizes our freaking season, probably the last 3 years. He referenced they were asking about Jamin Davis. You know what he said? He said, "There's more there. There's more there." Jack played Jack was legit linebacker in his day. And then you had Ron, who was Ron. He was okay. He wasn't like a starter, but he was a pretty good. You have two bona fide linebacker coaches on this freaking team, and you tell them you can't coach up a first round talent like Jamin. Like, this blows my mind. But like, that is a microcosm of this team. Like, I don't understand how they can't do the simplest things. I don't get it. So for me, I think Bree said it best, man. Don't embarrass us. We're about to be on national TV because everyone's watching because there's freaking Dallas fans everywhere. We got to try to do something, man. We got to try and at least keep it close, keep it competitive. I want to see Sam. Sam going to do his thing. He's going to do his thing. He's a legitimate NFL arm, and I feel like we're going to see a little bit of that on Sunday. And lastly, hey man, it was great doing this with y'all for these last couple of weeks, man. I had a great time. This was real fun. Y'all are the real deal. Y'all keep me laughing every day, all day. So hey, let's get this. Hey, even with my score prediction, let's get this dub.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, happy J5 to CeeLo too, man.
Happy J5.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna talk about who didn't know what that was. I was like, let me Google this. Happy J5 man. While I'm Googling. What is J5?
Yeah, work.
Oh man, yeah, man. This has been good. Again. Oh my! I forgot what I was gonna say, man. Oh, I knew what I was gonna say. Don't forget, y'all can go to Ticketmaster, something on there. I put something on Ticketmaster, so please, when you see it, go ahead and hit purchase for this Sunday's game. Appreciate you.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, where we discuss all things Washington Commanders, from the executive and front offices, coaches, players, and fan experience. Join DT, Breeze, CeeLo, and Deuce as they break down the pre- and post games. Do it because you love it and not because it loves you. Hail Commanders!